Hi there, this is Art and Such with the Rainbow Loom tutorial for Hank from Trash Truck. I'm gonna be doing most of this with you on the loom, just in its offset configuration. And we're gonna do a little bit on the hook. It's a pretty straightforward project. You are gonna be needing some skin tone bands, some gold, yellow, or straw colored bands, some blue bands. This is gonna be for part of the shirt. Some white bands also for the shirt, beads or black bands for the eyes. I'm going to use a couple of these little itty bitty ones, but if you have something larger or if you would prefer to use bands, that's fine. I'll show you a couple of ways to get those on, and I think we're ready to go. So I'll do the first arm and the first leg with you. For our arms, we're taking 2 skin tone colored bands, wrapping them on the hook once, twice. You can do a third time if you want, if they're a little stretched out. If you are looking to save bands, you can just take a single and wrap it on. This will give a little more roundness for the hand. We're going to take 2 pairs, no, I think we've got 4 pairs of double skin tone bands, so 2 together. Put it on the end of your hook and slide the wrapped bands over. Replace, that's 1. Another 2, that's 2. This is 3. And 1 more time. And then we'll have 1 set of double blue bands. So it's going to be the sleeve of the shirt. You can put this on the side on a hook or holding hook, and I'll ask you to pause the video and get your second hand arm at the ready. So 2 bands wrapped 2-3 times, placed onto 4 sets of double skin tone bands and 1 set of blue bands. The next thing we're doing is going to be the legs. We're going to take 2 2 white bands. Is it 1 or 2? Yes, 2. Wrap them on the hook once, twice. You can do it an extra time if they're stretched out a little. Place that onto another 2 bands, and before you replace, or after if it's easier for you, we're going to wrap another band on. Single band white, 1, 2, 3, and replace. If you're finding that challenging, you can do it this way. Take that first piece and then take your single, wrap 1, 2, 3, and bring the first set you did over. So both of those ways work. The idea is to get that wrapped single in the middle. This is going to go onto 1 doubled over white band, so stretch it, twist it, bring it back over, put it on the end of your hook and slide it through all of those pieces and replace. We're going to do just a little bit of shin here, 2 skin tone bands, slide it through and replace, and 2 brown bands for his shorts. And then we're going to go to the loom. So take a second, you can pause here, make the other foot. We're going to need 2 feet, 2 arms. When you're ready, here we go. Starting with the hair, you're going to take the color you're using for your hair, 2 bands from the top center to the top side, and repeat that in the opposite direction. Come down once on each of the rows with 2 bands placed together. Then we're going to be switching to skin tone. Okay. So our skin tone, we're going to take 2 bands and come down twice on either side, starting at the second to third peg. So that's once, and again. Repeat that on the far side. And in the middle, we're going to have 3 sets of double bands, so two together each time. Starting at the second peg down, go to the third peg and repeat 2 more times. We're going to have 2 bands coming in from the 4th side to the 5th center. It's going to be diagonal. And another 2 from the 4th peg down on the other side to the 5th peg down in the center. It's going to get a little busy on this 5th peg down, but don't worry, it's not so bad. We'll be okay. Let's take 2 white bands and put them from the 5th peg down in the we're going to do blue next, sorry. 2 blue from the 5th peg down in the center to the 5th peg down on the side. Repeat coming down in the opposite direction. Come down once on either side with double blue bands from the 5th peg down to the 6th peg down. You'll notice I don't have a model at the ready to show you off the top. Something went a little bit wonky, and I'm going to try to get it right on this one. But this is one change I'm making, which is to have the blues coming down here so we see a little more of the shirt on the sides. We are, in my original model, we're going to have 2 white bands coming down the middle, 5th middle to 6th middle. Now 3 more sets of double white coming down the middle, so 2 at a time. Start at the 6th peg down, and we're going to lay out the next 3 of these. And on either side, we're going to need another 3 sets of double white bands. That'll begin where the blue left off at the 7th 6th peg down. Maybe it's only 2. Let's put down 2 sets and we'll see how that's looking. It's a little hard to see on my picture here from my original, which are the skin tone and which are the white. So yeah, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. I feel like we should have, yeah, our middle one started a little higher up, so we do need 2 more whites coming down. I'll kind of review this for you in a second here. All right, so from where we started the body at the 5th peg down in the center, we came to either side with 2 blue bands, and on either side we've got 1 set of double blue bands followed by 3 sets of double white bands, so 2 on each, and in the middle you've got 4 sets of double white bands. From here we're going to switch to the color for the shorts, and on each of the rows lay down 2 bands together. We'll come down twice. If you can believe it, we're like more than halfway done already. This is a pretty fast one. Couple more things to add on and then we'll be ready to loop. You can take your 2 legs and we're going to get a pair of double brown bands. Slide both of the leg pieces on, so all of the loops that are on your hook are going to go over. And we will stretch this across the 3rd peg from the bottom of the loom on either side. It's where you put the last of the brown bands. Just like so, and reach your hook between the 2 leg pieces, slide the double bands over the third peg from the bottom in the middle, which is the last one that the brown was on. This is going to help secure it. You can now take the arm pieces and take the first arm and the blue loops that are on and transfer those straight down onto the fifth peg down on one side. Oh, something happened there. And then on the other side you'll place the other arm. For holding hooks, I'm using a brown one for the bottom, like on each of the bottom two. Did I say holding hooks? Holding bands. Yeah, so I'm using a single band. If you want it to be a little bit sturdier and maybe a little bit thicker, you can use two bands together. It's going diagonally over all of the fourth pegs from the bottom. And it's, I'm not sure why I said diagonally. We're making a triangle is what I mean. And we're going to repeat that above. You can also use white for this upper one if you choose to. And if you want it to be a more narrow, tight body, you can double the bands over, which is like so. And that will make him a little bit thinner. Okay, we are going to do the holding bands for the torso, the white over here. I'm going to use single whites and create triangles on each set of pegs going up until the blue here. So we've got 3 white ones and 2 brown ones. The topmost part of the face, which is the second pegs down, you can use a single skin tone band or a single hair colored band. I'm going to use the hair colored band because if it shows through a little bit, it'll look like his eyebrows here, and he does have pronounced eyebrows. You won't see it a lot, but it kind of has a nice effect to the point that you do. If you skip the next one, the third one's down, you can put a single holding band across the fourth pegs coming down. And for this middle one, the third one, we're going to do the eyes. So I do have mine ready to go here. What you can do with yours, if you have 2 black bands, I'll give you a couple of options here. If you've got 2 black bands, you can wrap each one 3 times onto your hook. And then take a single skin tone band, stretch it, twist it, double it over, slide it through both. And if you're really struggling with it being doubled over, you can do it single. The doubled over keeps the face kind of tighter together. And then on either side you'll have a loop, and those will go onto the side pegs down, third one's down. Stretch it across there. I'll give you your next instruction in a minute. If you were using beads with a larger hole, you can put your bead onto your hook, put both beads on, and same thing, you'll slide it onto that doubled over single, place it onto the third pegs down. And my little trick, if you're using beads with smaller holes, you can use some dental floss or thread, needle and thread, or a thin piece of wire. And what we do is we run our floss or needle and thread or wire through both beads. Take your doubled over thread. Hold on. Okay, so I'm holding this on here. Gonna take my band, double it over. Then you can take your floss, run it through, bring it back through, both of the beads here, and slide it until it goes on. whichever kind of eyes you're choosing to do. Once you have it onto a doubled over single, you're going to transfer that onto the third pegs down on either side. Bear with me here a second. This one's going to take me just a minute to get stretched back out. Sometimes you need your hook for this. Sometimes it's something you can do somewhat with your fingers. If you haven't doubled it over, it will be a lot easier, but your eyes might move about a little bit more. This keeps everything nice and tight, and it keeps the face cinched together. There we go. Okay. Take your hook or your fingers, but it'll be a lot easier with your hook, and try to find the middle point between the top and bottom bands in the eyes, and there will be 2 bands for each part. Separate it and pull it over that third peg on the top. This keeps your eyes from bunching up together on the side, from sliding around, makes everything nice and even. We have one more thing to do, and then we are good to loop up, and that is our side extension for the face. For that, we're going to take a single skin tone band, wrap it on the hook once or twice. We're going to put it onto two single skin tone bands, and replace, repeat, and replace. And then we need 2 bands of the hair color, and replace. And on the bottom, if you stretch it out, you're going to see a big circle there. This last little loop, pull it out to make a circle that will fit over the 4th peg down from the top. And you're going to take the bands that are on your hook and put them onto the top peg on that same side. And then get your hook just inside the chains that you've created, and try to pull one of the band pieces over that 2nd peg from the top and over the 3rd peg down from the top. What this does is it's going to create some more width and roundness to the face, and it will also keep this side chain, the face, together. You don't want the whole section to be hanging loose and attached top and bottom with nothing in between. Same thing for the other side, single, wrapped once or twice, pulled onto 2 skin tone, and then another 2 skin tone. These ones are a little stretchy, but I might just have to cinch them in a bit at the end. Then onto 2 gold. Place it on the opposite side, just as you did before. So the bottommost little circle part, that was the first wrap band, goes onto the 4th peg down. The bands on your hook go onto the top side peg. And we want one little part of each of those chains pulled on to keep it snug. Okay, we are ready to loop. Go to the bottom of the hook, and we are going to start on one of the sides. So we are only going to be taking the bottom 2 bands, and that means we need to push back the bands that are on top. So on the, I'm wondering how to get you the best view here. On the 3rd peg from the bottom, I'm going to take my hook, point the open part up and away from me, push back the top 2 bands, which are holding the legs, scoop up the bottom 2 and wiggle them around, and replace them on the next peg up. We're going to do a basic chain. Push back your holding triangle bands and keep coming up until you reach the arms. So you'll be getting 2 brown, 2 brown, 2 white, 2 white, 2 white, and then 2 blue at the top here. I'm hoping my modifications here are going to give us the right effect. If not, please do check in the comments. If there's anything that I needed to change, I'll do my best to make a note for you, but I think we're on the right track. This will be nice. When you get to the arm peg, that's your 5th peg down on the side, push back all of the bands until you get the bottom 2, which are coming diagonally from the middle. Scoop those back to the center. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Push back the whole knee bands with the legs, stay inside of your triangles, and loop up to the arms. And reach into the arm bands, take the bottom two, bring them to center, go back and get the brown band that's sitting between the legs, the brown two bands, loop them forward. That should be the last of what was sitting on that peg. We're going to loop straight up until the 5th peg down from the top in the middle. That will wrap up the body here. And we do want to get that white on top. That was one of the little adjustments I made from my first version because I felt like there was too much blue there. This will keep the white where we want it, although now it occurs to me, I almost feel like we should have started with white to begin with. I might, you can leave this if you want to, but I think I might wiggle some of mine off and place this in a different order. I want to have my white on the bottom just in case I end up turning this around afterwards. But don't worry about it if you're not there. Don't worry about this. It's just something I'm choosing to do on mine. Give me 1 second and I'll be right back with you. Okay, come on there. Come on. There. And I'll put these ones back where they were. Just gonna take a second. Everything gets so stretchy, huh? I feel like I'm pulling taffy here or something. Okay. If you ever decide to make this one again, maybe put the white on before the blue. I think that's gonna give us a better effect. That's what I was kind of doing there. Don't worry about it. If you followed my instructions, there's nothing terrible about it. Now we are at the ready to do the face. So we have these two bands, and these two bands. On mine, I can see the ones coming from my left here are the ones over the others. So I'm going to reach in past the neck bands and watch out that you're not getting a white instead of a skin tone. You can use your hands if you need to pull these out to the side a little, or your hook. You might need to change the angle from which you're looking at this, but we want to see at the end two nice rounded shapes with nothing twisting around here or yanking from this side. Go back in and find the next two, which are going to the opposite side. Loop back to where they came from, and then the middle two. I'm going to continue looping up the middle here. If you feel like there's a lot of tension happening on your loom, or maybe it's a frailer one, you can at this point start pulling off some of the bands from the body, and that can help. Or you can wait to do that until the end. Now on either side, we've looped middle to side. We need to get to the top and then inwards. We are going for the bottom row of double bands. So once again, with the open part of my hook pointed away, I'm going to push back the top bands, get the bottom two, bring them around and onto the next peg. Repeat that. We want to get 2 bands each time. Watch out for the triangle band there. When you get to the top, there are 2 inside. They should be the only 2 there. Bring them to the middle center or middle top peg. We'll do this on the other side. Go to that 4th peg down, get your bottom 2, bring them up. Watch out for your extensions. If you see something's popping off, looking loose, take a minute, backtrack. Check that it's looking right, because this is when you want to catch things before it's time to take this off. Okay, let's take one more hair colored band, and we're going to take the hook. I'm going to point the open part of my hook away from me and this is going to come straight down through all of the bands on the top center peg, out through the back, and I'm pointing it away so that I'm not going to catch the other bands as it comes up. If I do it this way, it's going to right away grab them, so that's why it's pointing away. Put your securing band on the end if you want to for extra security, you can do that, and slide it up. The other end goes on, and the one further into the hook will come over. That's going to create a knot which will hold this together. This can go on your hook, your finger, or a C-clip, and we are going to take this off of the loom. Try to use the back of your hook and start at the top, move down. A good way to prevent band breakages. You know, after all this time, I'm still not very patient with this part. Again, if anything is looking a little bit loose, try to grab it now. You might be able to weave it in if it's just a piece here or there. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I want this for my front because the eyes look a little more pronounced here. I can see a little more of my gold band that I was wanting to. I'm not sure what that's about. There we go. Yeah, I can see there's definitely more white here on the back. I wanted a little bit more white here on the front, but it's okay. You can turn to the back, put your hook under a couple of bands, and take the one you used to secure this all, slide it through. That can go onto a C-clip. If you have any other loose bands around, you can put those on here as well. And then we just want to sort of stretch everything out, tighten anything that's loose. I can see this band's been stretched out a little bit, so I'll try to find it on the back and tug it in a bit. I think that's about it. Okay, let's hold up the camera here. And there you have it. It's Hank from Trash Truck. He's kind of cute. Alright. Okay, we're done. He looks good. Thank you for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.